Have you ever wondered what are the most important things for you to look for just to get a quick snap judgment on whether or not you should buy a house, or whether or not this house is going to require a lot of work, or whether it's going to be one where it's just turnkey? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a few key things to pay attention to when evaluating any house, so you know if it's going to be a good buy or if it may take some work before you buy it. My name is Taj Walker. I'm a local Georgia real estate agent. I've been in the real estate industry for almost 8 years. My goal is to help you make the best decision you can and educate you on information I wish someone taught me so that you can make the best decision for you on your real estate journey. Let's get right into it. First, when you walk up to any home, there's a few key components you want to look at any home that'll give you a pretty good indication of the condition of that home and how much work you're going to have to do, how much things are going to cost before you even buy it. Oftentimes you can do a lot of this work and a lot of this evaluation online, but it's always best to get eyes on it to know for sure. My name is Taj Walker, and hey, if you need a real estate agent, a real estate professional in your area, I'm here to help you. I got your back. I have vetted and spoken to several agents, and I have a list of pre-vetted agents that I can connect you with in your local area. Happy to help, happy to make that connection. I've done all the heavy lifting for you, and I'd love to connect you to one of these agents to help you on your real estate journey, whatever that is, whether it's buying, selling, investing. I'd love to connect you with one of these agents. Fill out the link in the description below, and I'll be in touch soon. When you walk up to a home, one of the first things you want to look at is take a general intake of the curb appeal and the home. Take a look at that roof, take a look at those windows, take a look at those gutters, take a look at that exterior paint, that exterior structure. Take a look at the ground, the grass, the bushes. Look to see if there's any moist or wet spots on the ground or in the yard. And that's going to be your first check. Take it all in from the driveway or from the street to give you an overall indication of what you're looking at. If it looks dirty, if it looks not well put together, you have the mailboxes falling off, you have a dip in the roof, you have cracked foundation, you have paint that's super faded, you have moss growing on the side of the house, you have gutters that are full and have perhaps debris growing out of them, windows that look like they're not updated, single pane windows. These are a sign that, hey, this home may need some work. May be able to get a good deal, but this home is probably gonna need a little bit of work. Now, when you start walking towards that home, the first thing you wanna look at is the roof. This is gonna be one of your major expenses, so you wanna make sure that you know what you're getting into, and the roof is a good indication of that. Take a look to see if that roof is sloped, see if there's any stains, see if it's pulling away from the fascia board. All of these things are a good indication that that roof may need to be replaced, and you want to make sure you consider that in your negotiations. Next, you want to look at that fascia board and that soffit. If there's any separation from the roof, if it's missing, this is a good indication that there may be some critters that have gotten into that attic or underneath into that roof. And it's something to keep aware of. If there's holes and you live in a state or an area where there's lots of woods and trees, there's often critters that make their home inside of attics. And it's more likely if there are holes in the fascia board. Next, you want to take a look at those windows. How old or new the windows are will often indicate how expensive or affordable your AC and your circulation will be. So having older windows may make it harder to heat or cool your home. Also, having older windows could be a potentially expensive cost if you're expecting, newer windows, right? So something to keep in mind. You want to take a look at those windows. If they're single pane or they're wood framed, oftentimes those are older, they may need to be replaced. Secondly, you also want to look at just the overall siding of the house. If it's brick or if it's something different, you want to look for any cracks. Oftentimes cracks are an indication of bigger problems. And then you want to take a look at that foundation close to the base of the house, especially where the gutters pour off, because that's where moisture will often collect if it's not done correctly. So in addition to taking a look at those gutters, you want to make sure gutters are present, but there's often no buildup in those gutters, because diverting water away from the house is super important to make sure water doesn't collect at the base, cause foundation issues, or in some cases, much worse. So in addition, once you walk into the home, you want to take a look at the plumbing. One good indication of the plumbing is what kind of pipes are in this home. If you see things like copper or polybutylene piping, these pipes are old and an indication that replacement is needed soon. If you have PVC pipes, these are often newer, less likely that there's going to be a more imminent issue. You want to take a look at that water heater. You want to make sure there's an expansion tank on it. You want to look at the year to see how old it is and to see if that's another major cost that's going to end up coming your way. So the plumbing and the water heater. Next, you want to take a look at that electrical panel. That electrical panel should be up to date and up to code based on your area. And you can often tell. You may want to take an electrician with you, but you always want to make sure that electrical panel is up to code, is up to date, because if it isn't, you may not have enough power being inputted into that home based on what you want to either install or build, or just may be outdated. You may have considered buying an older home, but putting more modern finishes in it, and that electrical panel just may be out of date. And you want to make sure that the electricity or the electrical wiring is done proper and that it's what it should be. Next, making your way down, you want to take a look at those floors. When you walk into a home, one of the things that I notice first when you walk into a home is if the floors are uneven. If you step into a home and it looks like you're riding waves, it's often an indication that there's something going on with the foundation. There may be a crawl space you need to take a look at. And uneven floors are an indication of potentially bigger issues. Not always. More common in older homes once they've been renovated. But if you walk into a home and there's uneven floors, note that, because that may be a sign of something you need to take a further or a closer look at. Next, if there's a basement or a crawl space, you always want to make sure to take a look at the crawl space or have a professional take a look at the crawl space. If you see indication of water down there, you don't see a vapor barrier, this is often signs of potential issues. Water intrusion or bigger issues. Not all homes have crawl spaces, but it's more common in the South, older homes. And water accumulating under the home could be a potential issue. So you want to look for a good vapor barrier under there. If there's not one, keep in mind that you may need to get one to keep that water out. But it's also something to keep in mind and to be aware of. Something else to keep in mind is whether that home is on septic or public sewer. Now, this is something I found to be more true in Georgia. However, if the home is on septic, one thing to keep in mind is, or to note, is when's the last time that septic tank was pumped or not. Most of the time, having a septic tank pumped, it's not super expensive, but it is a cost that you want to be aware of. So whether the home is on septic or public sewer system is something you're going to want to know. You often find septic systems on larger lots, more rural lots, and you want to make sure to know whether that home is on septic or not. So these are just some napkin notes you can take when you first walk up to a home, just to get an idea of how much work is going to need to be done, if you want that home or not, and how expensive some of these things are going to be. Now, if anything I shared does come up, it doesn't mean that the home is not worth buying. It just is something for you to note for negotiation power, to keep in mind in terms of how much work you may or may not have to do. But again, these are napkin notes for you to be able to go, take a look at a home and do a quick check on the condition of that home prior to getting an inspection.